I am a full-time university professor, and my job is exactly as sexy as it sounds. On most days, I read an ungodly amount. And when I'm not doing that, I'm either teaching or grading students' work. And when I'm not doing that, I'm sitting in on committee meetings, doing service work for my department, my discipline, the larger community in which I live, all while trying to manage a full-time performance poetry career and conduct my own research. In other words, I put in work, y'all. I love my job, though. On most days, teaching for me is a lot like one of those really complicated math problems where if Johnny had 170 candy bars and a train was leaving Kansas at 3 p.m. going 90 miles an hour, how much longer will it take for Johnny to burn basketballs on the roof before the children start crying again? In other words, it's complicated as fuck. But I love how we come together and almost always figure it out. I had this one student, brown as the border that crossed her, asked if her white colleagues understand that her family had been trying to get her into college for generations, wanted to know if they understand the weight of that, said she picked this campus the same way her grandfather picked fruit, slow, painful. But what else was she gonna do? Said she's angry that her colleagues seem angrier with illegal immigration than they do with illegal banking practices. Fact, it would cost this government $69 billion to pay for everyone's tuition at all public colleges and universities. Instead, we spend $63 billion to subsidize the cost and another $107 in student loans. When degrees are steadily lowering and tuition rates are rising while starting salaries for recent graduates are dropping, degrees become a cheap fashion statement, not even worth a trip to the mall. No one ever tells you that you have to drown in debt in hopes of making it to the shore, that the loan system is a lot like Alcatraz, like Rikers Island, like getting fucked while the guards don't even have the decency to pretend to look the other way. The difference between student debtors and prisoners is that students are taught to think they're on the outside of the bars. What world do we live in where we bail out banks who are too big to fail, even though they bank on the failure of our student? What world do we live in where college professors struggle to pay back student loans? It's like we learn nothing from Biggie. We're getting high on our own supply, but this is the American dream some days, y'all. Some days I feel like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Or better, like a shepherd leading his flock to slaughter. I teach classes on structural racism and gender inequality in a system that is more willing to punish its students for plagiarism than it is for sexual assault. What world are we living in when we tell our students that the thoughts of dead white men are far more valuable than their own bodies? The university has become a Black Friday sale, and it does not have time to concern itself with whose body gets trampled in the stampede of it all. But us being here is a revolutionary act. We force them to deal with the prison, the rape, the lynching, the system of racism. It's all built on, and we should watch them squirm whenever we open our mouths because they know we're not comfortable with just getting into the system. We want to claw that motherfucker down, and that should make it uncomfortable. It ain't called growing pains for nothing. So, if Johnny left college with $170,000 in debt, on a train going 90 miles at 3 p.m., how much longer will it take for us to realize that him burning basketballs on a roof makes so much more sense than all of this?